Welcome back. We are working on another sleuth lesson. We are going to be reading closely. Today we are working on the lesson for Unit 2, Module A, Lesson 3. So we're going to read very closely today with our learning intentions. We are learning to read closely so that way we can have a deep understanding of what we read. We know we are successful when we can monitor our comprehension while we're reading, use text evidence to answer the questions, and also ask questions about the text. Let's go ahead and jump right into it, y'all. So we have the text. It's called Cahokia, the mystery behind an ancient city. Ooh. Let's see what it's all about. So it says, hundreds of years before Columbus landed in the New World, there was a complex culture in southern Illinois. People settled the rich floodplain near present-day St. Louis beginning around AD 700. Over the centuries, they built a planned city. It was later named Cahokia. Between the years of 1050 and 1200, the city had between 10,000 and 20,000 people living there. What was the daily life like in Cahokia? There are no written records to tell us. Scientists have searched for clues as they have dug the site of this ancient city. They have found pottery, buildings, and burial grounds. More than 120 earthen pyramids known as mounds have been discovered. The largest mound has a base that covers more than 14 acres. It would have been more than 10 stories tall. It may have required more than 14 million baskets of soil to build it. Imagine a powerful leader ordering workers to carry all those baskets. 14 million. One at a time. Between the mounds, there are large plazas where people may have gathered and played sports. What were the mounds used for? A large temple or palace on the highest mound may have been where the high priest lived. Homes or burial grounds may have been located in some of the mounds. Scientists have found a circle of cedar posts that may have been used like a calendar. The Cahokian people likely studied the movement of the sun and the stars. Cahokian artifacts were found hundreds of miles away from Cahokia, suggest that a large trade network was in place. Scientists are not certain, but some think that Cahokia may have been the center of the Mississippian culture. What happened to the Cahokian people? Did disease kill them? Were they forced to move? No one really knows. Perhaps the resources ran out. Why should we care about this long-lost city? Understanding how great civilizations rose and fell may help us learn from their failures. It may help ensure the survival of our very own culture. Huh. That was kind of a cool one. I like learning about new things. Cahokia, kind of interesting. So for our first thing, we're going to gather some evidence. So it says, what evidence can you find in the text to show you why Cahokia may have built mounds? What could a reason for that be? Why would they build mounds? Oh, well, I'm looking back, and I know I don't have to reread the whole thing, but I can see in this paragraph right here, it says, what were the mounds used for? That's the first sentence, so that's giving me a clue that it's probably going to tell me about why they might have built the mounds. A large temple or palace on the highest mound may have been where the high priest lived. Maybe they needed a mound for their priest to live there, right? Homes or burial grounds may have been located in some of the mounds. Maybe they needed a place for their homes or their burial grounds. That could be a reason. Scientists found a circle of cedar posts that may have been used like a calendar. Maybe they needed it for telling time or studying the stars. Okay? And then let's ask a question. What are two questions a young child might have about Cahokia? Or what are two questions an expert in ancient cultures might have about Cahokia? So I want you to think, what are some questions that you have about Cahokia? I mean, maybe it's, did the kids go to school? What did they eat? Did they have horses? Did they have pets? You could ask all sorts of things. Maybe you could say, what did their homes look like? You think of some. Pause the video and think. That's one of our success criteria, is to ask questions. All right, and let's make our case. What conclusions can you draw about the people of Cahokia and their culture? So let's think. It says, identify evidence in the text and its images to support your conclusion. So again, look at this. What are some ideas that we can come up with about the Cahokian people and their culture? Like, what was their life like? Well, I'm kind of thinking, what are you thinking? Tell me. You tell me first. See if we're on the same page. I'm kind of thinking that maybe they had a very organized life because it says that they have this organized city and there are over 10,000 to 20,000 people living there. And it says that there's no written records, but they had found the pottery and buildings and burial grounds. So I know that they had places and things and places to bury their people. They had the burial grounds, they had buildings to live in, right? So I'm thinking maybe they're very organized because also they could build all these mounds, which are huge. It seems like it would take a lot of time. Or maybe you could say that they're hard workers because imagine those 14 million baskets of soil that they would need to build just one of those mounds. That would take a lot of work carrying all those baskets of soil. All right. Or maybe, again, if we went with organized, it said that they must have had a big trade network where they would trade with other people because their items, their goods were found very far away from where Cahokia was. So you can come up with your own conclusions, but think about, what do you think they were like? What were those people like? But just make sure you support it with text evidence. So what kind of evidence did we find in the text to show why the Cahokians might have built the mounds? Do you remember? Were you monitoring your comprehension? Were you listening actively? Let's see. Right here, I highlighted it for us this time in the text. It said, what were the mounds used for? A large temple or palace on the highest mountain may have been where the high priest lived, or homes or burial grounds may have been located in some of the mounds. Okay, so these were reasons why they could have built the mounds. And again, we got to make sure that we're using that text evidence. And then think about the value of the mounds to the Cahokian culture. Why would you think they may have wanted to be at a higher level than the flat ground? Why would they want to be up there so high? So did you think about this? This is one that Miss Waiters didn't even think about at first. But it says that scientists found the circle of cedar posts that may have been used like a calendar. The Cahokian people likely studied the movement of the sun and the stars. So maybe they wanted to be closer to the sky so they could study more. Interesting. I mean, we'll never know. We just have to make our own conclusions. So back to our learning intentions for today. We were learning to read closely so that way we could have a deep understanding of what we read. We knew we were successful when we could monitor our comprehension while reading, so make sure we're understanding what we read. Check. Use text evidence to answer questions. We did that as well, and I even highlighted the text for you so you could see exactly how I did it. Check. And then ask questions about the text. We did that as well. Check. Check, check, check. So your reading response today is, what evidence was left of the Cahokian people's civilization? So what did they left behind? What did they leave behind? How do we know that they were there? All right, guys, that is all for today. I hope you have a wonderful day. Be kind to one another, do all of your work, and I will see you next time. Bye.